to 3 ways that you can fix your slice. Slice is one of the more frustrating but more common patterns, and there's a couple different common ways that we can solve it. Number 1 is to understand the club face, the face to path relationship, which is basically if the ball is curving off to the right, that means that the face is open to the path. What that means is if I had a club going like this in space, the club face would be pointing right of the target, just like a drop shot or like a slice shot in tennis. So the club face is matching my hand and it's basically cutting across the ball like this. So then what would happen is if I swung the club at the target but the club face was open, the ball would start right and curve right. So then golfers will instinctively swing this drop shot left so that now the club face is pointing at the target, but because the path of the club is going off to the left, it starts curving off to the right. In fact, the more that the ball curves, that's a simple recipe for telling you how much the club face was open. Piece number 2 is the path. If I have a path that is way outside in, then my brain's probably not going to let me close the face because I might hit it over on the road way over there. So I need to get my path closer to neutral to match up a club face that's going to be a little bit closed. You don't have to get it all the way into out and hit a draw. You could just hit a nice little fade, but I think that it can be helpful to exaggerate it and get the path actually inside out to feel closer to a more neutral path. And then the third one is for you rhythm golfers. We're going to look more at tempo. Oftentimes what happens with a golfer who slices it is that they're going to go really aggressive with the upper body and pull down on the handle, opening the club face in transition, and by going hard with the upper body, they're going to tend to swing a little bit more outside in. So rhythm-wise, we're going to work on getting the legs to lead a little bit more and the club to wait a little bit longer, and as I'm waiting for the club, it's going to tend to shallow out or swing a little bit more from the inside. Okay, so let's tackle those in what I think is the priority. Priority number 1, if you're trying to eliminate a slice, you have got to get the club face more close to the path. So if I get set up normal, just like this, I've got the club pretty much straight up and down even with my spine. And usually what I'll do is down in impact position like this, I'll say, all right golfers, what I want you to do is show me where you're going to get the club face at impact if you didn't put your hands forward. Basically, if I was just here and then I went to impact, what would happen? Well, if I just changed the club face, what you see is I would turn it about 30 degrees closed. Now you're probably looking at yourself like that can't be right, it's got to be coming back straight. But if I turn it 30 degrees closed, but then I put my body in impact position, now I've created my hands a little bit more forward, and now you can see that the club is a little bit behind me, but it's square. So what'll naturally happen is when you use your body and try to hit the club or hit the ball, you'll get your hands a little bit more forward. And when you get your hands more forward, that's going to instinctively point the face a little bit more to the right. So the average is that pros are going to rotate the club face closed somewhere around 30 degrees. Most of my students who I find slice the ball basically keep the club face the same and try not to let the club face change at all during the swing. So now we're going to go through just a quick little drill to start feeling that club face closed. And we're going to dial it in at 2 different spots. You can dial it in right here at shaft parallel in the downswing. So we're going to do like a little half swing where we're just going to bring it back to belly button height and then belly button height. So at this first checkpoint, we're going to bring it back and then we're going to rotate the club face closed about 30 degrees. Then from here, we're going to rotate the body through, but keep that club face turning so that it's gradually rotating closed just like this. Now, if you're used to slicing, this is going to feel incredibly awkward and very exaggerated, but what you're going to start to see is the ball is not going to curve to the right when we make contact. Once I have this feeling of the club face being more closed, but I'm monitoring ball flight, if it's not hooking like crazy or not going way to the left, if the ball is not curving very much, then I know the club face was actually square. And then what I can do is I can do more of a 3/4 swing, or I can go all the way up to a full swing and try to recreate the same ball flight. That's one of the easiest go-to drills for getting a little bit more club face awareness and learning how to get out of a slice. Goal number 2 is going to be looking at the path. So now, if I've got a stick on the ground here, and I'm going to put an object. This could be a golf ball in this case. I often use an impact bag and have golfers train that. Sometimes I'll use a tissue box or yoga block or something like that. But I'm gonna put a golf ball at about a 30-degree angle out to the right. And now setting up to the golf ball, I've got the stick aimed at my target. I'm going to practice bringing the toe of the club into that impact bag or towards that golf ball. So I'm gonna feel like the club is going this way. If I'm used to slicing the ball, it would look more like this, where the blur of the club is coming way to the left of that golf ball. So now what's going to happen is I'm feeling like this with my arms, where the club face is more in a closed position, just like this, but then it's traveling out that way. My goal is to overdo it and try to hit some hooks. What I'm going to find is as I start to turn my body, it's going to make it harder and harder for me to actually hit that object, whether it's an impact bag or yoga block. We got the club face in the little 9-to-3 drill. We got the path in this little right path drill. The last one's going to be rhythm and tempo. So rhythm and tempo, we're going to get a feeling of a pump down and then a release through. So instead of hitting straight from the top, we're going to feel like the club is dropping until it gets to about waist height, and then I'm going to swing through. So we're going to try and exaggerate this, where we're going to feel like it's really slow in transition until we get to about here, and then it's really fast down through the ball instead of fast early. So rhythm wise, I'm going to feel a 1 to the backswing, 2 down to here, and then a 3 being the release down at the bottom. So it will look something 1, 2, 3. So I'm feeling like the 2 is happening as a long, slow transition. So I'm making a full turn, letting it drop there in transition, and then trying to apply the speed late. If I'm used to slicing the ball, then I'm probably applying the speed early. One of the principles that we use at Golf Smart Academy is you want to use some type of feedback to accurately diagnose what's going on, but then you have to be willing to experiment with different solutions in order to solve it. If you're slicing the ball, one of these 3 will absolutely solve it, but you might feel like you're closing and not actually be closing. You might have to feel like you close it with the right hand instead of the left hand. I've got drills to help work through any of the different pieces that might relate to getting the path more to the right, getting the club face closed, or working on your rhythm and sequencing. So if you're struggling with it, just know that there's hope. Get an accurate diagnosis, either by reading ball flight or even using video. And when you have an accurate diagnosis, if you play around with the results, you will fix your problem and get better. If you like this video, then click the link in the description below and head over to golfsmartacademy.com for a free trial membership. It's free. You don't even have to put in your credit card. We have over 900 videos to help you diagnose and then train to improve your golf swing. Golf Smart Academy is the ultimate resource for do-it-yourself golfers.